Handicapper Steve here, handicapping the final day of the Cheltenham Festival. It is Friday, the 17th of March, 2023. We're going to look at almost all the races on the program from Cheltenham, but before I get on to that, remember to please follow me on Twitter at Horse Racing Kit 5 for more selections for race courses around the world, and also join me tomorrow for my Uttoxeter Midlands Grand National. It's one of my favorite races of the year, so I hope you join me for that. But we're going to look at almost all the races here on the final day of the festival, except the fifth race, the conditional jockey race, the not the conditional jockey race, the Hunter's Chase. I just can't stand that race. That's a close second behind the the Hunter's Chase is first. Second is the champion bumper for me, as the two races I can't stand throughout the week. At least the horses that are coming out of the bumper are going to be decent horses. I just can't stand these the Hunter's Chases. So we're going to always skip over that race every year at the festival. It's as is tradition with the champion bumper. So we have six races to look at now. Let's start off with the first race, the 130, which is the Grade 1 JCB Triumph Hurdle. It's a Grade 1 event for Class 1 horses, going for a $167,000 purse. Race for juvenile 4-year-olds here. Field of 15 horses, going the distance of ground of 3,400 meters, or 2 miles and 1/8 over the hurdle course. I'm going to take as a top selection the 14 horse Lassie Mouth. I'm going to go 14-3-4 in your TriCash trifecta. 14-3-4 TriCash trifecta. Top selection of 14 horse Lassie Mouth. 4-year-old followed by Great Pretender. Willie Mullins trains this one. Paul Townend gets the mount. The horse's most recent outing came the 4th of February at Leopardstown. 2 miles in the Grade 1 Spring Juvenile Hurdle, and the horse finished second by 2 1/4 lengths. The winner just had the jump on him late, but this horse at 33 cents a dollar was getting around the race course well. He needed that extra turn of foot. Not the world's worst race. Refreshing and getting an extra furlong coming here to Cheltenham. I think he could get some redemption for the last run. Two back, he ran on the 26th of December at Leopardstown, Boxing Day, 2 miles in the Grade 2 Frank Knight Juvenile Hurdle, and he won by 7.5 lengths, and he was on cruise control throughout. He jumped well, he quickened up nicely, and he floated over the fences. That was a very good return to the winner's circle. And then prior to that, at Ferry House, first start of the new connections, 4th of December, 2 miles in the Grade 3 Bar 1 Racing Prize Boost Juvenile Hurdle. He won by 4, and again, he just quickened up nicely and got the job done. The filly taking on the boys here today. She's run much the best here. I'm going to take her. I think your second likeliest winner here is the number 3 horse Ascending for Rachel Blackmore and Henrietta Bromhead. Most recently in the Marquis Spring Juvenile Hurdle, Leopardstown over the 2, he finished 4th by 19 lengths there, where he just couldn't get the good turn of foot. I think the ground was just slightly too fast for this horse there. Refreshing here. I thought the maiden hurdle and the feet 2 back on the Christmas meeting at Leopardstown wasn't half bad. He's going to have to do a lot to win, but he showed potential early on in the last 2 races over the jumps. But I do think the other horse is a likely winner. I'll use this horse as a play on the play spot, but most likely Lassie Mouth is going to win by a mile. But to recap my selection for the first, the 130 from Cheltenham. Now it's the Grade 1 JCB Triumph Hurdle. Let's take the 14 horse Lassie Mouth. Give kudos to the 3 horse Ascending. 14-3-4 TriCash trifecta. You used a 14-3 both in the play spot. Let's get to the second event from Cheltenham. The second race, the 210 from Cheltenham, it's the McCoy Contractors County Handicap Hurdle. It's a premier handicap hurdle for Class 1 horses, going for a $120,000 purse, race for 5-year-olds and upwards. Field of 26 horses entered to go the distance of ground here, 4,200 meters, or 2 miles and 5/8, or excuse me, not 4,200 meters, 3,400 meters, or the 2 miles and 1/8 hurdle, 2 miles and 1/8 trip over the hurdle course. God, I can't speak. My top selection here, I'm going to go with the 21 horse Pembroke, 21-2 in your forecast exacta. That's my top 2. Any of these 2 can win, so we'll talk about them both. Definitely use them in the play spot and exacta forecast combinations, depending on the price each way also. But the top selection will be the 21 horse Pembroke. 6-year-old gun by Blue Brestle here. Dan Skelton trains one. Harry Skelton gets the mount. Horse's most recent outing came preview day on the 20th of January locally at Cheltenham. 2.5 miles in the Grade 2 Ballymore Novices Hurdle, and he finished second by 1.5 lengths. Rock My Way just had the jump on this horse there. He wasn't getting going. He just kind of, was a little flat. I do think going back to the extended 2 miles should just get him a better trip. He'll be more into it early on, and I think he could jump over and run a good race. Also getting 10 less pounds, 149 pounds in this race should really suit him well. 2 back in National Hunt Novice Hurdle, Class 4 event in Ludlow, 2 miles on the 20th of December. He won by 16 that day. Even with the high weight, he was on cruise control throughout. He quickened up nicely. An all-around good race for this horse there. And then prior to that, on the 23rd of November at Weatherby, heavy ground, 2 miles in a Novice Hurdle, Class 4 event. He won by 6.5 lengths. And again, he jumped a terrific race, kept going, a very, very good run, considered to the race before where he ran crap at Chepstow. 2 miles on yielding ground in a National Main Hurdle, finished 7 by 12 lengths, and he just never had the trip. trip. Refreshing here today. I'm going to give him a shot at 8-1. I think his second likeliest winner is the 2-horse Pied Piper. 5-year-old gun by New Approach. Gordon Elliott trains. Davy Russell gets the mount. Pied Piper. If you're a Beach Boy fan and bought this past December, they came out with the it was called the Sail on Sailor box set, and there's an album from the Beach Boys in the 70s that was re-released on that box set called Holland. At the end of it, or it was a separate EP, a part of it, called the Mount Vernon and Fairway Fairy Tale, and one of the sections is the Pied Piper section. And if you haven't listened to it, go listen to it because it's very hilarious. And the music, if you like music, it's very the what Brian Wilson did during that's quite impressive. But back to Pied Piper here. The horse's most recent outing, the 5th of February at Leopardstown, 2 miles in the Grade 1 Irish Champion Hurdle. He finished 4th by 6.5 lengths, and he just got outclassed by the other Stateman Freak that day. This horse was jumping okay, but he just wasn't going to beat those horses. Way down to a handicap today, even with a ginormous weight of 167 pounds on his back. I think he should really get a good race and find the winner's enclosure today. 2 back in the Grade 1 Matheson's Hurdle at Leopardstown, 29th of December over the 2. He finished 5th by 50 lengths there. Off the 2-month refreshing, he just kind of hit the wall there. I don't know if he liked the going. He had a few mistakes. It wasn't his day to win, also against those tougher horses. And then prior to that at Down Royal, 4th of November, 2 miles and an eighth in the Grade 1 WKD Hurdle. He won by 3 1/4 lengths that day. He jumped well. He was much the best against those lesser quality horses. And then here at Cheltenham in October in a conditional hurdle, he won by 2 3/4 lengths. Again, a very easy race on quite fast ground. He's been facing too tough competition his last two. He's down the class ladder to a handicap here today, even with a higher weight. I'm going to use him at 15-1 in the place pot. So to recount my selection for the second, the 210 from Cheltenham, it's the County Handicap Hurdle. Let's take the number 21 horse here, Pembroke. Give kudos to the 2-horse Pied Piper. 21-2 Forecast Exacta. Use them both in the place pot. Forecast Exacta combinations, you know what I mean. Let's go to the third now from Cheltenham. The 250, the third race from Cheltenham, it's the Grade 1 Albert Bartlett Novices Hurdle. It's a Grade 1 event for Class 1 horses going for that $162,000 purse race for novice 5-year-olds and upwards. Field of 20 horses entered to go the distance of ground of 4,800 meters or 3 miles over the hurdle course. My top selection, I'm going to go with the number 19 horse here, 3-card Bragg. I'm going to go 19-7 in your Forecast Exacta. 19-7 Forecast Exacta. Top selection 19 horse 3-card Bragg. 6-year-old gun by Jetaway. Gordon Elliott trains one. Adrian Heskin gets the mount. The horse's most recent outing came in Novice Hurdle at Ferry House, 25th of January over the 2 miles and 7/16, and he won by 12 lengths that day. It took him a little bit of time to get going, but when he got going late, he just kept going. A very good race. He's going to the 3-mile trip, which shouldn't be a problem. He's jumped these terrific races, and I expect him to really improve today. 2 back at Nace on the 20th of December, 2.5 miles in the Grade 2 Tote Navin Novice Hurdle, and he won by a neck that day. Finished second by a neck that day, and he just was under the drive. He just couldn't get there late. The winner just outgamed him, but he ran his heart out there. He showed good potential off of that defeat. And then 13th November at Navan, 2 miles in the Grade 3 Gibbeys for Auction Novice Hurdle. He finished third by 1/4 lengths, and again, he was closing up well late. He had a decent race throughout, but he just needed something more late. A longer trip would have suited him there. And then at Galway, late October, 2 miles in Auction Main Hurdle. He won by 6.5 lengths that day, and he did everything and more there. He's been on the improve with every single race this season. Coming here at 7-2, I'm going to use him. I think your second likeliest winner here is a 7-horse Hidden Valley Lake for Rachel Blackmore and Henry de Bromhead. Most recently, they ran the horse in the at Clonmel on the 16th of February, 3 miles in the Grade 3 Sure Mercedes-Benz Novice Hurdle, where he finished second by a half a length that day, and he just couldn't catch the winner with the jump on him. But off the little bit of refreshing, probably neither race was just a little bit flat. Second off the bench, he should really run that better race. Because 2 back, the horse ran terrifically in the Stayers Novice Hurdle at Cork, 11th of December over the 3 miles, winning by 8 lengths that day. He was, much the best that day, quickened up nicely. He destroyed the group of competition home, first-time winners, first-time stakes quality horses. Prior to that, at Nace and over the 2.5 miles in the main hurdle, he won by 2 1/4 lengths. And again, took him a little time to get going, but this horse took off late. Coming here at 8-1, beginning of the quad pod, I'll definitely use this horse on the ticket. So to recount my selection for the 250, the third race from Cheltenham, it's the Grade 1 Albert Bartlett Novices Hurdle. Let's take here the number 19 horse, 3-card Bragg as a top selection. We'll give kudos to the 7-horse Hidden Valley Lake, 19-7 Forecast Exacta. Use them both in your quad pod that begins with this race. So let's get to the featured fourth race now from Cheltenham. The 330, the featured fourth race now from Cheltenham. It's the Grade 1 Cheltenham Gold Cup. It's a Grade 1 event for Class 1 horses going for a $750,000 purse, whereas for 5-year-olds and upwards, we have a field of 13 horses, a baker's dozen going to the turf course, to the chase course to be exact. The distance of ground here of 3 miles and 1/4 over that chase course. My top selection here, I'm going to go take the number 10 horse, Protectorat. Let's go 10-3-6 in your TriCash trifecta. 10-3-6 TriCash trifecta, top selection 10 horse Protectorat, Ariel Gullen by Sante Saints, Dan Skelton trains, Harry Skelton gets to mount. The horse's most recent outing came preview day, local prep race for this one here at Cheltenham, 3 miles and 1/8 in the Grade 2 Coltswell Chase, and he finished 4th by 5 1/4 lengths that day, and he just couldn't really, get going late. He didn't weaken out of it, but he stayed the trip okay. He needed that extra turn of foot. Refreshing here off the quick turnaround from the last race. I think the form could go up, and I think he could finally find the winner's circle here at the festival again. 2 back in the Grade 1 Betfair Chase at Haydock, 3 miles and 1/4, 19th of November. He won by 11 that day, upsetting Eldorado Elaine, Frodon, who are decent horses. Frodon maybe he's past his prime, but he was a decent horse. This horse just took off clear. He loved the soft ground. He jumped well, floated over the fences. That was a very good race there. 2 back before that, the race before in the Grade 1 Bull Chase at Aintree, 3 miles and 8th, 7th of April. He finished 4th by 26 lengths, and it's a 5-2 lukewarm favorite. He absolutely just never really got going. The 3 from him set pedestrian fractions. This horse just couldn't close up with it. It wasn't his day. And then last year, Cheltenham Gold Cup here at Cheltenham, 3 miles and 1/4, 18th of March. He finished 3rd by 18 lengths there, and he was just under the drive and just not excelling. He needed the race there. I do think the long layoff from the previous race really got to him there. The previous race was the 4th of December of 2021 at Aintree, 3 miles and 1/8 in the Grade 2 Many Clouds Chase. He won by 25 there, beating Native River, who was running his final start, I believe, that day. This horse just won for fun, and then ran the Paddy Power Gold Cup Handicap Chase here at Cheltenham in November 2021, where he finished 2nd by 3/4 length. Again, running decently. Coming up in class again today, longer trip. Longer trip doesn't really matter, but second, coming back with a quick turnaround off the last race. I think that should suit him well. A 12-1, I think he could find the winners enclosure. I think the 3 horse here, Brave Man's Games, your second likeliest winner. 8-year-old Gallon by Brave Mason Paul Nichols trains. Harry Coben gets the mount. Most recently on Boxing Day in the King George at Kempton over the 3. He won by 14 that day. I had a few mistakes that day, but he got the job done going away with it. Prior to that, in the Grade 2 Charlie Hall Chase at Weatherby over the 3, he won by 3.5 lengths. And again, he put on a show, beating some good horses home. A very, very good race there. And then the mid-May Novices Chase at Aintree last April, he had a disaster. It seemed like a lot of horses that were supposed to do good at the Aintree Grand National meeting last year just weren't. They never fired. It seemed like the B string was firing at the Aintree, but this horse again was the A string there. Just didn't do anything. Finished 4th by 30 lengths. Completely hit the wall. I don't know if he handled Aintree there. And then prior to that, a limited handicap chase at Newbury over there nearly 3 miles. He won by 3.5 lengths. Again, 2 other horses home. He ran against. He just destroyed the group of horses home. And then the Quota Star Novices Chase last year at Kempton on Boxing Day 2021. He won by 7.5 lengths. Another easy race. Refreshing here at 6-1. It wouldn't surprise me if he gets the job done. And the 6-horse Galopin de Champs for Paul Town and Willie Mullins. This horse has been pretty perfect, this season. He won the Punchestown Chase in his seasonal reappearance at Punchestown in December. Came back to win the Irish Gold Cup by 8, where he just stayed and destroyed those good group of horses home. Big question is, can he handle Cheltenham? He didn't run well at the festival last year in the Turner's Novice Chase, where he fell out of it. What can you do? But that's if you take that race out of his form as of recently, he's been pretty perfect, winning by open lengths. 9-5 will use him, but in this very wide open race, 9-5 is a little bit too short for me, but he can win. We'll definitely use him in the multis or the quad or place pot here. But to recount my selection for the 4th, the 330 from Cheltenham. It's Grade 1 Cheltenham Gold Cup. Let's take the 10-horse Protectorat. Give kudos to the 3-horse Brave Man's Gave and the 6-horse Galopin de Champs. 10-3-6 TriCash trifecta. We're going to use all 3 of them in the multi-race place and quad pots here. So, like I said earlier, the 5th race, the Hunter's Chase, we don't look at that race, or I don't look at that race. I watch it as a fan, but we're going to skip over the Hunter's Chase and head over to the 6th event now, the 450 from Cheltenham. The sixth race, the 450. It is the Grade 2 Mrs. Paddy Power Mares Chase. It's a Grade 2 event for Class 1 horses going for a $144,000 purse. Race for 5-year-olds and upwards, mares only. Field of 9 horses going the distance of ground here, 4,200 meters, or 2 miles and 5/8 over the chase course. I'm going to take the one horse Allegory de Vassy as a top selection. Let's go 136 in your TriCash trifecta. 136 TriCash trifecta. Top selection, one horse Allegory de Vassy. 6-year-old mare by No Risk at All. Willie Mullins trains. Paul Townend gets the mount. The horse's most recent outing came 22nd of January at Thurles. 2.5 miles in the Grade 2 Colmore National Hunt Sires Mogul Irish EBF Mares Chase, and the horse won by 19 that day, and she basically just cruised over the fences. She jumped well, she kept going against this tougher competition. She destroyed them. Refreshing here of some decent runs and a winner of her last 4. I think she could make it 5 in a row. Since coming to the new connections, she's really become a great horse. 2 back on the 20th of December at Limerick, 2 miles and 13/16 in the Class 1 Mares Novice Chase. First start in nearly 12 months. She won by 19, and again, she just was on cruise control out the route, breaking, winning over the bigger obstacles there for the first time. And over the smaller obstacles in the Slovenia Novices Hurdle at Ferry House last December of 2022, or January of 2022, over the 2 miles 5/16. The horse won by 3.5 lengths, and again, another very easy race. Even if you go back to the defeats in France at Compiègne and Auteuil in her early career, those races weren't bad at all in defeat. Since coming here coming to the new connections of Willie Mullin, she's really become a great horse. Refreshing here, 7-5. I think she's a likely winner. I think the 3-horse Impervious is your second likeliest winner. Won the Grade 2 Magian group Novice Chase at Punchestown in January very nicely on very heavy ground by 1/2 length, and then before that was a Novice Chase winner, Cork, very nicely also. Another horse, since coming to the bigger obstacles, she's really become a better horse. Refreshing here at 2-1. I'll use her to end off the quad and play spot. But to recount my selections for the 450, the 6th race from Cheltenham, it's the Grade 2 Mrs. Paddy Power Mares Chase. Let's take the 1-horse Allegory de Vassy as a top selection. Give kudos to the 3-horse Impervious. 136 TriCash trifecta. Use them all or both in the multi-race. Let's get to the Cheltenham Festival nightcap, the finale from Cheltenham, the 7th race. The 5:30, the 7th race, the finale, the nightcap from Cheltenham now. It is the Martin Pipe Conditional Jockeys Handicap Hurdle. It's Class 2 Conditional Handicap Hurdle going for a $90,000 purse. Race for 4-year-olds and upwards, horses rated 0 to 145. Field of 26 horses entered, but we have quite a few non-runners in this one. But they're going to the distance of ground of 4,000 meters or 2.5 miles over that hurdle course. My top selection, I'm going to go with the 5-horse Imagine. 5-12 for me in the forecast exacta. 5-12 forecast exacta, top selection to 5-horse Imagine. 5-year-old gelding here by Marty. Gordon Elliott trains. Ben Harvey gets the mount. The horse's most recent outing came the 12th of February at Navan, 2 miles in a listed novice hurdle, and the horse finished second by 6 lengths that day, and he just kept going. He needed something more late, but he didn't run half bad. He's going to the longer trip today, which he should absolutely adore, and I think he can get over the line first. 2 back in novice hurdle at Gowan, 2 miles 26 in November. He finished second by half a length. Again, he's coming like an express train late, but just that a little bit too late. He needs something more, but again, he jumped well that day. And then the Grade 3 Grade 3 Gibneys for auction novice hurdle at Navan, 2 miles on the 13th of November. Finished second by 3/4 length. Again, he jumped well, not as good as the last 2 races after that, but he still, needed something late. He was a winner once at Wexford over the 2 miles 16th and maiden hurdle, winning by a head all throughout. Really jumped a terrific race. Coming here at 9-2, he could definitely win. I think your second likeliest winner is 12-horse Spanish Harlem. There's 5-year-old going by Spanish Moon. Michael Sullivan's on this one for Willie Mullins. Most recently ran the horse at Thurles in early February. 2.5 miles in novice hurdle where he finished second by a half length. The winner had the jump on this horse, but this horse at 73 cents a dollar should have won. He just couldn't keep up late. Prior to the ground was a little bit too fast, I thought, for him that day. 2 back at Ferry House on soft ground, 2 miles 7/16 in the novice hurdle. He finished second by 12 lengths. Off the little bit of freshening, he just still needed something more late, but he did jump decently early on. And then at Gowan novice hurdle, he finished third by 4.25 lengths. He was on the drive excelling that day. Won a longer trip, but nothing bad about that race first start with the new connections. Most recent victory came in a conditional hurdle at Atoy on the 4th of June over the 2 miles and 9/8. Went by 2 lengths. He destroyed the group of horses home on the soft ground. Refreshing here. If he could show that Atoy race, he could definitely win at 4-1. We'll use him on the ticket. But to recount my selection for the 5:30, the 7th race from Cheltenham, the meet finale here. Gonna take the 5-horse Imagine. Give kudos to the 12-horse Spanish Harlem. 5-12 forecast exacta. Use them both here in exact forecast combinations. So good luck to all. Remember to join me tomorrow for my Uttoxeter Midlands Grand National preview, and also join me next week for my Dubai World Cup preview. Good luck, everybody, and follow me on Twitter at HorseRacingKid5 for more selections for race courses around the world.